Today is another beautiful rainy spring day here in Austria, and I've decided to go out to shoot again in these beautiful conditions. I've come out here to a lake and a river, as I can see, and some fields, so yeah, I think the location should do well. So, before getting out the car, I got a couple shots out the window first, hoping to make use of all the water drops on the window to add an extra layer on the photo. This worked pretty nicely, I think. The blurry circles make the photograph feel wetter, hence conveying the rainy day. Then, as I did finally go out, I decided to get another shot of this scenery, but from this slightly different angle here. The shot is nice, I love the scenery and how the colours are working here, but I prefer the first version with the water drops. Then, on this bridge, I got a wonderful view of the lake here with the mountains leading into it, so I tried to get a simple wide shot of the scenery. I got 3 different versions, all just differing slightly in focal length. These came out wonderfully, I find. The view, of course, is simply a beautiful scenery of the lake here, which is of course a rather easy subject in that sense. Something I appreciate compositionally here is the grass in the foreground. The higher perspective from the bridge, even if it's just minimally, makes a big difference by allowing us to see the depth thanks to the grass in the foreground that leads back to the water. Then I also got a shot on film because I had the camera with me, but that roll was not developed yet, so I'll have to show you the results some other time. Then, as I crossed the road, I spotted 2 fishermen in the water and thought they could act as a decent subject in the interesting environment. Here's the first shot, which I think is pretty cool. It's this nice landscape with the fisherman acting as a wonderful small subject that adds a little bit of interest to enhance the photograph. The second shot I enjoy for the same reasons. What also comes into play here are the houses, which in my opinion are a beautiful and great secondary subject to further increase the points of interest in the photograph. Something else here that worked exceptionally well, I find, is the fisherman who is standing on a patch of pebbles, which provides a bright backdrop and creates a strong contrast that lets the fisherman stand out. Here's an extra shot of the same scene, but it didn't work as well. I got one more closer photograph of the guy on the left, and this composition turned out quite interesting, I find. It feels full, but tidy in a harmonious way that lets my gaze go over it swiftly without losing interest too quickly. Here I decided to get a shot of some flowers beside the road. This is a nice detail shot, but nothing outstanding in any way. Here I was photographing a small branch, which again is a fine detail shot, but not utterly interesting. I do appreciate the color contrast though. Then I also wanted to capture the raindrops that were dripping into the river and creating cute little wave circles. I also enjoy how clear the water is and that we can see the tree through it, leading from one corner to the other. as I spotted this house on my left, I thought it could be a cool shot to get from this lower angle looking up at it. Here's the result, and it turned out okay, I think, but not as good as I hoped it would be. Something's a bit off here, maybe it's the lighting. The strong contrast of the bright sky and the dark rocks don't go together so well. I still enjoy the composition though, so I'm thinking this one might work at sunrise or so, when the light is coming from the side and the sky is not simply white. Next I found this log lying above and across the river in midst of the forest. The photograph is alright. I like the colours and the general idea of capturing this little scene that is surrounded by trees and leaves. However, I think maybe a rainy day is not the right day for this composition. I imagine this could look far better with speckles of sunlight shining through the trees. Then I was about to walk up this road, but then stopped because I thought it was so cute. Here's the photo. Do you know what I mean? Isn't it cute somehow? The small road surrounded by grass and trees on a wet day leading up a hill. I like it. Then I attempted to get another shot of the house, this time from closer up. Here it is, and I think this one actually works. I like how the scene is composed, with this slope coming down from the right side, carrying the house along the way. The sky feels less distracting here, and so now it seems to work. Then on my left was this wooden box, which I thought would be a sweet detail worth photographing. Here it is, nothing special, not really a photo to be on its own, but a nice complementary photograph to the previous two. After that, I was looking for a road I had found on the maps before coming here, and I was assuming was going to lead up the hill from where I might get a good view of the lake. I found the road, and as I started to walk up it, I decided to get a shot of the cluster of houses from this slightly higher perspective. The result is alright. I like the perspective and the composition overall, but something is missing. Or maybe it's just the subject. The photograph isn't very interesting, I think. I continued further upwards and found an old traditional Austrian house with a nice roof that contrasted the background in colour, so I got a shot. Here's the photo, and I think it's quite nice. It's a mixture between a detail and a wide shot somehow, seeing as it's fairly wide, but the house is only pictured fractionally, which I think has an interesting dynamic to enjoy looking at. By the way, I also appreciate that tree that rises up behind the house. It adds a little something to connect the house more to the environment. Then, further up the road, I tried to get a wider shot of the house looking down the road. Here's the result, and I like it, but it's not particularly good, I'd say. I don't like the white house, unfortunately. I imagine the photograph would look better if that one were also in the traditional wooden style. Then, by now, I had left the paved road and was walking on this dirt track from where I spotted another way to photograph the house. This time it's this angle, and I really like this one. It's a landscape photograph of the mountains with a cute foreground covered in yellow flowers, plus that house peeking out of the ridge, which I find has some character. It's not simply a sober picture of the house, but instead the house has character because it seems to be hiding. Does that make sense? Then, further along the track, I was loving the view here and decided to get another landscape photograph. This is the result, and I love it. The photograph is split in layers, the field, the trees, and then the mountains, which as a viewer we can follow through the photograph and feel the depth of the space. This feeling is wonderfully assisted by the track that continues into the distance. Oh, there's the lake. So, here I found the view to the lake that I was looking for. The photograph is simple, yet really effective, I think, in capturing the beauty of this place with its details, such as the hideout on the left or the track on the right. The lake simply makes the scene more idyllic.
What's the matter? What's that you got there? It's just my phone camera. No, that. Oh, this is my new camera strap, from the sponsor of this video.
Ooh. Yep, that's right, I've got a new sponsor. I'm partnering with Urth, who make high quality camera accessories with the environment in mind. They recently released a new set of camera straps and asked me whether I'd like to try them. I was super excited as they reached out to me because I've been using some of their products for quite a while already, so of course I said I'd love to, and so they sent me these two straps. The black mantle camera strap, which I now use for my Sony, and the core camera strap in ash grey, which I think suits the silver look of my film camera perfectly. This camera actually came with a terrible camera strap, and believe me, it was not good. However, I never thought of buying a camera strap because I hadn't realized the difference it makes, but now that I got to try these, I'm genuinely impressed how much better the shooting experience is when shooting with a good camera strap. The straps are made of recycled material and feel really premium. They've got these cool quick-release pebble fasteners which allow me to detach the camera without needing to do the usual fiddling. Also, something worth mentioning about Urth as a brand is that they plant 5 trees for each purchased product. You can read more about this and also check out the straps via the links in the description. So, if you're interested to get yourself a good camera strap, then I genuinely recommend that you check out Urth.
Ooh.
Then, on my way towards the lake, I kept looking back at the house to maybe find another angle to photograph it. I got this angle, which again works nicely in the same way that the previous one worked, with the house peeking out of the grass. After that, I got another wide landscape shot of the scenery here. This is the result, and it's so beautiful, I find. I love how the field curves from one side to the other. This time, however, there's a bit less detail because the track is missing, so the photo feels like it lacks something in the middle or on the right. And therefore, I got an idea.
So, this place is looking pretty cool, and I'm right now thinking of finding a spot where I can do one of those typical self-portraits, because I really like how it goes down the hill here, which is a perspective I don't often get, so I kind of want to make use of that. Yeah, I think there's something usable there. It's not magnificently better than the one without me, but it does add a lot of perspective and a lot of sense of scale, so I guess I prefer these. We'll see.
So here is the result. I think I, as an extra small element here, add that missing piece of detail that decorates the photograph. Now the photo has an anchor, something that the viewer can hold on to, which adds to a sense of structure to the photo and makes the viewing more harmonious, I think. The focus doesn't feel so scattered anymore. Then, on my way down the hill, I decided to get a shot of this path here because I really liked how the forest stood right beside the path. The result is nice, I find. It feels a little more subjective and hidden in a way because of the forest, as if we were hiding away in the forest and looking at the wonderful view, whereas the previous photo has more of an objective view that simply captures the beauty of the scenery. Neither is better or worse, it's just an observation. Then, a little further down, I got another shot of the lake because I had a new foreground again. This version is also interesting because of the trees in the foreground and the big field that leads up to the lake, which wasn't so clearly visible in the previous photographs. The reason why this is interesting in my opinion is that it's not so common, at least of all the lakes in Austria that I've seen, not many have this type of wet swampy field that leads up to the water. Then, in the distance at the water, I spotted another fisherman and thought this person could act as a great subject again. Here's the photograph, and I think this one came out wonderfully. The photograph has depth thanks to the blurry branches in the foreground and the field again that leads up to the subject, but also thanks to the soft mist that diffuses the lake in the distance. The subject works perfectly as the anchor point I talked about before, this time even with a mirroring effect from the water.
I'm not too sure about walking through here.
Then I got a simple photo of the mountain here. The result is fine, but overall nothing special. After that, I got another landscape to photograph these small round bumps of grass. And the result is okay, but again, not outstanding.
So I'm just taking the gamble here that there's going to be some path in the distance there to take me back to a different path, not a river, because if there's a river, I'm going to have to turn around. Oh, here's a river. Let's check it out. Wow, such clear water. Oh, here's a path. Huh. Nice.
So here I got my last 3 shots, which were all sweet details of the lake, whereas this one might not count as a detail, but I think it does because it shows a detail of the overall lake. Just before returning to the road, I spotted this scene where this tree in the middle seems to stand out somehow, which however in the photograph doesn't appear as strong as I hoped it would. Anyway, those were the last photographs of the day. I think this session was a great success. I enjoyed shooting on yet another rainy spring day, and that at this beautiful lake. I got a lot of shots in total, so it's hard to pick one favorite, so here are just a couple of photos that I count to my favorites of the day. Let me know which ones you enjoyed, I'm curious as always. Anyway, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I'll see you again next week in the next video. Until then, goodbye.